Welcome to War Thunder with Subdude. How y'all doing today? Well, 1.91 is virtually within sight of being dropped on us. And one of the changes that's coming with 1.91, at least by DevBlog, is the fact that we'll be able to select certain missions that we do not like and one that we will never fly. And I understand that would be a very good tool for Gaijin to figure out which maps are playable, which maps are garbage. The unfortunate part is you can't do it per plane. I realize that would make a rather large database, but it would be a very informative database for Gaijin. Now, if you're wondering what I mean, there are maps that I will fly with this plane, the F3D1. And the reason I'll fly them is because I have enough room to get out of the main fighter combat area, go do some ground attack, and then climb up to altitude and engage with whatever's left. Provided there's a reason to. 90% of the time, it just isn't worth it. Go back and land. Maybe fight. It all depends upon what's going on in the match. But when you have a match where there's really no reason for you to bother going, small maps where there's just no room, where you're within combat range within a minute of starting the match, need to be able to eliminate those maps. Now, that's going to become even more important with faster and faster aircraft. We've got a Mach 2, we've got 3 Mach 2 plus aircraft coming to the game. And those are only the beginning. I think pretty soon we're going to be looking at the F-8 Crusader. We've got the MiG-21s coming and the Chengdu whatever from China. And the Phantom 2. Okay. Well, that leaves the English Electric Lightning, the Mirage 3, for Italy, maybe the F-104 Starfighter. And that's a problem. Oh, Germany probably gets something like the, I don't know, maybe the Phantom. Japan should get the Phantom also. But therein lies the problem. These planes are fast. They accelerate quite well. They carry massive amounts of ordnance in some cases. And in other cases, they are pretty much dedicated interceptors. But they are fast. And if you have a loadout for, let's say, ground attack, you're going to be pretty much screwed with most of the maps that Gaijin has created. Why? Because they put all the ground targets centered in the combat area. Now, there's a couple of maps they don't. And that's a good thing. But the problem is, there's too few of them. Now, here's the thing. Every map in Air Realistic is playable by fighters. That includes the supersonics. Every map. If you're doing nothing but flying air-to-air combat, every map is fair game. If you are trying to do anything but air-to-air, these maps are stupid foolish. And they aren't worth flying on. That's why I say we really need to have Gaijin take a look at possibly making that 3+1 selectable to an airframe. So if I'm flying the F3D1, I don't get maps like Peleliu. Peleliu is an absolute, why did anyone even bother creating this little arcade map for anything? And that's what it is. It's an arcade map. It's too small for jets of any stripe. There's literally nothing to do except air-to-air combat. Now, some people, I can go in and I can attack the landing boats and shoot tanks and bull. They don't do a damn thing for your game. They don't do anything for your game. And you can't kill enough of them because the enemy is on top of you. You don't have time to be fooling around chasing ground targets when all the enemy fighters are sitting on top of you. I've railed against this many times because the developers at Gaijin are not doing their job. They create beautiful models. Don't get me wrong. The models are beautiful. The maps are gorgeous. The missions are garbage, trash, worthless, junk. There are few, and you have to be selective in what you fly, unless you're flying air-to-air combat. If you're flying a fighter going after fighters and bombers, you're golden. Any map is good. Because that's as far as you've progressed in the game. You don't think about anything but shooting down enemy planes. That's the problem. Gaijin wants to make this game great for all players. Well, they're doing their best to make it not so great for a lot of players. Players that want to do something besides the mindless team slaughterfest. Don't get me wrong, if you know how to fly air-to-air combat and you're good at it, wonderful. But I'm horrible at it. I admit it. I flat out, well, I can't use those words because they get upset with me. But I like to do something other, which is why I have so many ground kills. Because I like killing ground targets. And in war, how do you win? By killing the ground targets so the army can advance. You don't win the war by shooting down all the enemy planes. It helps, but that doesn't win the war. And The sooner Gaijin corrects victory conditions so that you actually have to do the job that's set out at the beginning of the match, the better. But right now, you don't have to do the job that's set out at the beginning of the match because, hey, I can shoot down all the enemy and we win! Yay! Yeah, that's pretty stupid. You don't win by knocking out the other guy's Air Force. It helps, but you don't win by knocking out his Air Force. Naval targets, naval battles are not won specifically on aircraft shooting down all the aircraft from the other side. Now, there's going to be some people that will dispute that. All you got to do is look at the Coral Sea. And I don't mean the carrier Coral Sea, I mean the Battle of Coral Sea. The whole battle was fought at range. Battle of Midway, all fought at range by carriers. But on the ground, terra firma, you don't do that. Oh, I knocked out 5 tanks. Okay, there were 500 tanks though. So you knocked out what? 1%? 1/10 of 1%? Gaijin needs to reevaluate how they do missions. Now, everyone's been like, fix the game, fix the game. Well, here's a solution. Change your victory conditions in a match. Sometimes, even though you've killed all the enemy, you don't win the match because you didn't do the job that you were told to do. And that has been almost every match in the game so far. Now, we get the occasional, hey, we killed the air base and the counter came down and we won. Yay, we scored 2 out of 3 victory conditions. But that's rare. That's really rare. Although, lately, the Allies can do it with the A2D-1 and the B-29 working together. The A2D-1s, if you got 3 or 4 of them, go after the bases, kill the bases, and let the B-29s bomb the heck out of the air base, and wow, we win. Because all of a sudden, the enemy is looking at, holy shit, we're behind. I mean, yeah, they've probably gotten in there with their Arado 234s. They popped off 3 bases, and that's all they can do. They can't even touch the airbase. But you get some A2Ds out there, and they eliminate the bases and then start beating up on other ground targets. Well, everyone's going to come down and try and get those first. Meanwhile, you got 2, 3, 4 B-29s just kind of making lazy passes over the enemy airbase, obliterating it. But like I said, that's rare. I think I've had it happen 3 or 4 times this summer. That's a pretty long time. We need a better set of victory conditions. And it has to be victory conditions. Yes, you shot down all the enemy planes. Did you do the job that we were told to do? No. Therefore, it's a draw. You didn't do your job. And a draw means nobody wins. That will give more emphasis to do the job. And if you put the emphasis on to do the job, people will play the game differently. Or they're going to start ending up with a lot of draws. No big bonuses at the end for winning. You get your shoot down bonuses and that's it. Well, that's all I've got. This subdude signing out. 1.91's coming. I'm looking forward to my Phantom. I really don't care about the Chinese at all, and I really don't care about the MiG-21. All the rest of it, window dressing. Gaijin's good at creating the hype train. Problem is, the hype train does not paper over the problems in the game. I've suggested a solution. If you've got a solution, bring it out. There's a reason that Gaijin actually listens to some things. I'm not Fly Daily. I'm not Orange Doom. I'm not the European Canadian or Ash or any of those. I'm a nobody for the most part. But I love to play the game. And I've been playing it for over 6 years, working on my 7th year now. So Gaijin, pay heed. Love your game. Want this game to grow properly. And quit jumping over whole slews of aircraft just to put a hype plane or two in. And that's what the MiG-21 and the F-4C Phantom II are. They're hypes. Oh yeah, everyone will bust a gut over these. Oh yeah, they'll open up their wallets and dump a whole bunch of money. Yeah, and I probably would dump a whole bunch of money for F4D Skyray. Let's see. The F11F Tiger. The F8 Crusader. The F3D Demon. The A4 Skyhawk. The A6 Intruder. A7 Corsair 2. And that's only the American line. I'm sure that Russian players have their ideas. The English, I know, have been jonesing for the English Electric Lightning, plus other planes. The Supermarine Scimitar. They've been waiting for the Swift for I don't know how long. The French would love to get their Mirage. And I'm sure the Italians would love to have something interesting. And the Japanese probably want the F1. The Mitsubishi F1. Take care. Have a good night. This Subdude signing off. Bye-bye, folks.